Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. All right. So let me start off with this first super chat of the day. It says, hold old man's feet to the fire, none above reproach. Okay, listen. Really didn't plan on doing that just now because didn't really see the point in it. And I don't want to create any more unnecessary divisions in it. But I'll play the clip that I was talking about in the thing because okay, so I hit the like button, by the way, and this will give people a chance to come up. So, for those of you who don't know, um, O'Shea, or excuse me, Obsidian today said that he don't let personal life determine if he should mess with a person or not. Like that's not a determining factor on if you should mess with a person or not. I came up and I asked him straight up, like, but you did say that, you wouldn't mess with somebody because of their D game. And then he said, no, he didn't. And then, I said, well, I could bring up the clip. And he said, yeah, go ahead and bring up the clip and bring up the context that the clip is brought up in, and went back and came back with the clip. And he basically said, no, let's stick with the topic at hand. Let's not, even go there. Let's stick to the topic, which he was deflecting to the topic, attempting to avoid the situation as it stands, or attempting to ignore that he just challenged me to bring up some information that I brought up. And then when I played it, his response was, I was posing the question. I wasn't, I wasn't saying that I wouldn't work with them. Now, there is a such thing as what I call and what everybody else call a rhetorical question. That is a rhetorical question that he posed. But let me write down a timestamp because the video I'm going to cover today is in the same video of Bernard's. So let me just, and I already had that queued up, but I'll go back to do that. All right. And I wrote down, at least I think I did, the timestamp of the other thing. I think it's this one. All right, give me a second, y'all. I actually didn't write down that timestamp, so I'm trying to remember if I could find it again. Let's try here. All right. Let me share screens and go back at it. A dude, and he say, oh, I can't do business with you because some chick from high school said that you didn't stroke. I don't care, you know.
Well, what's interesting, there's the idea out there that goes something like this. A lot of these, speaking about Nikki in particular, but by extension, other black women, that she and or other black women are lying when they give a man a bad deal. Well, first of all, why would I want to?
All right, here we go.
Dirty Mac on guys who have.
Here, I'll go back a little bit for a little bit of context.
That you mess with cookies. Okay.
So when black women are complaining, and remember, the Black Manosphere came about as a direct result of black women's complaints. Take away the black women's complaints, there is no Black Manosphere in a very real sense.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
So black women have been complaining about black men doing them wrong. Okay, fine. We got to get like Quantico with it. Who are they? Who are they? Black women refuse to be specific. Take Cynthia G. She's important here. She wants to have us believe that all black men ain't sugar honey iced tea, but we know that's not true. We know the profile of the black men that she got entangled with, and it ain't Bernard, it ain't Kevin, it ain't Mumia.
Man, keep my name out. I don't like when my name get used in your examples. Come on. There I said it in the bill. It says, catch a flight, ninja, fly out. I'll beat you. Okay. All right, cool. JB, don't think you're above getting timed out and or blocked for trolling me. Don't think I won't do it. I will do it, JB. I will. But all right. Like I said, in general.
So Cynthia won't. Cynthia now this is what happens with Cynthia, because this happened last time we talked. So I backed Cynthia into a corner because I did just that. I did the Quantico FBI profiler routine on her. And I got her to admit that even though black men ain't sugar honey iced tea, I might as well take the most sexually desirable one and do my thing with them. So I got her to describe who it was, and basically she hoisted herself on her own petard. So again, the guys over here, I'm not going to use your name, I'll just say the guys over here. It ain't the guys over here. So she hoisted herself on her own petard.
When you say the guys over here, again, I go back to what I said. It's almost like trying to get one group of men online to make their case, Dirty Mac on another group of men online over there, so we can get a cyber pat on the head from any woman in a listening earshot, and that just looks goofy to me, Obsidian. I don't understand it.
Well, first of all, why would I want a Dirty Mac on guys who, have trash? I mean, why would I want to do that?
All right. Okay. Game Changer, you got anything?
No, I think that's the proper word. I mean, listen, femininity in the Black community is scarce. And I think that we are reacting in a way to where any group would react when a resource becomes scarce, and that is become hyper competitive with each other. I'm seeing that a lot. And I'm saying that the women are sitting back laughing as we do this. This is an unnecessary division over a resource that they control. We need collectively as Black men, we need to work on that.
Yeah, but why would I want to,
Now, right there, right? I was making a very important point, pointing out how easily we're divided over the attention and the affections of women based on this whole educated lame Pookie Ray Ray thing. And listen up at Obsidian's response to this. I know he's trying to be cheeky, but listen. Unnecessary division over a resource that they control. We need collectively as Black men, we need to work on that.
Yeah, but why would I want to, link up with guys who have trash dick? I mean, why?
Now, to quote Obsidian, you're right. This is a question. It's a rhetorical question, but it is a question nonetheless. So he did say that part. Now, to quote Obsidian, to ask the question is to answer the question. And the answer is you don't wish to work with somebody because they have trash dick. But he's going to further elaborate.
Why would I want to link up with them? I want to link up with guys
and that's
who are verified swordsmen.
You link up. And then he said, I want to link up with guys who are verified swordsmen. I want to link up with guys who are verified swordsmen. 2 days later. I don't link up with guys based on, their personal doings. I don't care. But you just said and this wasn't a question. This was a statement. And it wasn't a rhetorical question either. I want to link up with guys who are verified swordsmen. If you are not a verified swordsman, I do not want to link up with you. Why would I link up with somebody with, yeah, exactly. So y'all get the gist of it. So that whole, this is an L for you, game changer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is all cap. It's all to avoid this point. And listen, it didn't, and this is to Obsidian, if you listen. It didn't have to go there. And it doesn't. It really doesn't. Listen, I get that you can just say you was joking about what you were saying, the other day. And that would be a perfectly reasonable thing Like I wasn't trying to call you out or, catch you up or, get one over on you. It wasn't even about that. I was really like, if you're saying that we should work with brothers, regardless of uh, their reports or, their personal dwellings, basically, because that's what you were saying about, I believe, Future and Kevin Samuels, and that's something I agree with. Then we probably want to go in a different direction than what you were saying here. That's my whole point. I was actually happy that you was starting to see it that way. All right, so that's the end of that. That is the end of that. Let me stop right there. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. Hit the like button. Femininity is scarce in the black community. It's scarcer than a motherfucker. You if you pull out maybe like 20 female, maybe one of them will be actually feminine, or fit feminine and friendly. Maybe one of them. So with this absence, we do have like a lot of guys who are doing a lot of things. Like they're getting with a lot of unfeminine women. Hopefully that if they have experiences with five unfeminine women, it counts as one feminine one. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we're doing to cope with this, and we have become hyper competitive. We have become hyper focused on what that 1 in 20 woman wants. Like, no, she wants this. No, she wants this, and that's what the whole Pookie Rary educated lame thing is about. She wants this. She wants this, not this. She wants this, not this. I know what girls like. It's just that argument over and over and over again. And frankly, I'm sick of it. Right. So when oh, and there's also a belief by people like Obsidian and many others that Pookie Ray Ray is getting more than their fair share of femininity, and that's something else people do when they're dealing with a scarce resource. You when your plate is empty or when your plate is low, you start looking at the next man's plate. And in this case, the next man, he has his plate covered up, but have him tell it it's a whole Thanksgiving dinner on this plate. I don't think that that's the case with Pookie Ray Ray. I could be wrong, but I don't. I don't think that. I mean, there are those who do, and there are those who don't. But I don't think that women, the plurality of black women, are really prioritizing the Pookie Ray Ray thing over damn near anything. Trust me, there are those who do, and there are those who don't. Maybe it's even, maybe it's not, but I do know that it's negligible and not even worthy to think about it. And also, and here's the gist of it. Very few dudes are getting it based on Pookieism alone. And I think that that is another thing that on that side, on the Pookie side, that they are having a very difficult time coping with. Because let's face it, they want that. They want women to fuck their Pookessity, if not them. So you get the guys, some of them in their 40s, which is unheard of, but some of them in their 30s, and I shouldn't say which is unheard of, which is something that should be unheard of. You get these guys who want to get it based solely on that, and women, for the most part, aren't really giving it based solely on that. And even the ones who are giving it based solely on that, you have to be a lot of that. Meaning you can't just say I'm a pookie. It's like, okay, where do you rank in the plutocracy? What is your rank? For example, I forget where it was, maybe like Chicago or something like that. I forget. But there was a guy who was like the head of the BGF in prison, and he was getting prison guards pregnant, pimping them out, all kind of stuff, right? He, while in jail, he is at the top of the plutocracy in that area. You can't get more at the top than the head of a gang of people who are locked up for pookieism. He's at the very top, and it does seem like he had all the pussy available in that prison, which came from the guards, meaning that the second tier they got his leftovers or they paid for it, and then it just went down there. So if you're a free guy with no record at all and no stab wounds or nothing, you just wear the clothes, talk the talk, and have some affiliation, a couple people who did a couple things, you're at the bottom of the plutocracy. So even the women who sleep with dudes solely on their pookie s-ness, it's still not going to help you that much. It's just not. You're at the like button. You're at the bottom of the plutocracy. And there's a belief, and this is what's causing all the unnecessary division, I think, from the ELs, or because I'm saying it's not EL, but from the non-pookies, that the chicks are overdoing these guys. And that's what Dennis Sperling was saying, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they are playing you on that. I can't emphasize that enough. The women are playing the fellas on this. They're playing you against each other while they benefit from both sides. All right, give me a moment. So, as the conversation was going on, and Obsidian was talking, blizz blasting ham about, I want quantico evidence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want this, I want that. Basically, what he wants is he wants to assure that all of the complaints that Black women make are towards Pookie. And of course, the rightful conclusion from that would be to stop messing with Pookie. And what I want to say, and what I wanted to say, and this is why I was asking for evidence to that fact, is that the complaints that they have is not necessarily from Pookie. The primary complaint that they have is that they're relegated to fucking with Pookie. That's really the primary concerns. But when you listen to the complaints of Black women, like on one hand, they do complain about the Pookies and shit like that. But the primary complaint is the guys that they want Latinas. The guys that they want white women. The guys that they want Asian women. The super elite, the super duper, quad duper elite dudes. They want women that are not like them. The masters of the universe, so to speak. And the primary interactions that they have with the other people is that these are the leftovers. All right, so let me share the screen and I'll show you how that conversation went down, and then I'm going to bring it back to the looks. All right, thanks again, Great Britain, the bearded man. All right, here we go.
Hang them in equal number.
Because I'm saying, who are the black men? Who are they?
Huh?
Who are the black men who are giving you problems? Who are they?
Why should they bang anybody in equal numbers?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking.
Okay, let me give you some context. So prior to this, he was saying, well, here, I'll just go back further because it was a little out there, but we were on the topic of sexual marketplace socialism. Or the topic was brought up about sexual marketplace socialism, but I haven't explained it because you can do it better than I can.
It's a set of behaviors that black men possess that is very similar to yours.
No,
It's a problem. Okay, go for it.
no, because Kevin is a black. Because Kevin is a black man. Kevin and Kenny, meaning Kenny Petty, meaning Nicki Minaj's husband, they're both black men, but they don't think the same. There's a difference. And see, what we want to do is we want to reduce this down to all black men thinking the same. I'm sorry, that's not true.
I actually didn't. When you mentioned the collective of black men,
I didn't mention the collective of black men. I didn't.
Okay, well, you said that the problem is that far too many men don't accept the fact that a woman.
Far too many is not collective.
That's really what collective means.
No, it doesn't.
A collective is a large group of people. Many is a large group of person, places, or things. So yeah, it really is that. But once again, stuff like this gets real petty and quite frankly annoying.
That's what the word many means. And
no, collective is just that.
Many means a group. A group is a collective.
Many is not collective. Many is not a collective.
God damn.
Yes, goddamn. Many is not a collective.
Okay.
So what I'm saying,
a collective is a large group of people. In other words, a collective is many people. And since I was referencing people when I said many, it truly is.
in here. So what I'm saying here is that there are distinctions between and among black women. The brothers that represent the world star hip hop crowd would not see a distinction between Stormy Wellington and Kevin's usual black female audience. They would not see that distinction.
Okay, and there we have it. So he is basically separating the world star hip hop brothers from others and saying that the women see them. And what he's getting at is that he's under the impression that women value them more. That women value them significantly higher than they value other groups. And the reason why I made this video is I wanted to point out that women and really are valuing looks over anything. And that's what I was wanted to point out here. But let me show you what I mean.
I don't see a distinction if she agrees to be in a relationship with me. But as far as the world and her success and accomplishments and doors that she can open and places she can go that I can't, yeah, she's kicking my ass in the world of being successful in America. But if we in a relationship, then no, I don't see a distinction.
That's what I'm getting.
So what I want to talk about is this whole everybody. So what I want to talk about is this whole thinking that everybody is flawed but me, that we have going on in the black manosphere, because it's really causing a lot of unnecessary division, as I mentioned before. This thinking that the problem with black men is that they're not more like me is going to, and it is, and I say it a lot, especially from our city. It's really going to just like vivisect the entire sphere into just a group of people all competing for what should women give their bodies to. That's what it seems like it's coming down to.
Well, let me disabuse you of that.
Okay.
First of all, I don't think that I'm without flaw at all. By definition, I'm flawed. Here's one real good example.
What?
Here's one real good example of how I'm flawed. I'm disabled.
Okay.
That would be the definition of disabled, but it wasn't really by a definition of anything that was said before. Like by the definition of flaw, Obsidian isn't like, but yeah.
I think all black men should be disabled like me?
Do you think black women should go for disabled guys?
No, I think black women should go for whoever they should go for.
Okay, so then there you go. Then there isn't a problem with anybody. There isn't a problem with Pookie Ray Ray. There isn't a problem with anyone because the black women should go for whoever they want to go for.
What I said, I didn't say anything about problems. I said,
there isn't a problem with select fuckboys either, right?
I asked black women, who are the men giving you the problems? Who are they? It's not enough that they're just black men. Because if that was true, black women would just be banging just black men. All they had to be is just black and male. We know that's not true.
So the whole dad versus cat thing, it really doesn't matter because if that's what black women want and the problems, that's okay, right?
Yeah, it would be if they were banging cats and dads in equal number. We know that's not true.
And this is where the conversation went to the equal numbers portion. And for those of you who don't know, Cat is like a conspicuously handsome dude. And dad is a person that has dad qualities. Now, I will say that the two things aren't mutually exclusive, meaning a handsome person can have dad qualities. In fact, there really isn't any correlation. There's some, but it's very little, meaning that a more attractive guy has the ability to be a cat, but outside of that, it's really, really not. So when he says cads and dads, what he's saying here is that they're fucking attractive guys more than they're fucking guys who are not attractive but have dad qualities.
Why should they have to bang them in equal numbers?
Because I'm saying, who are the black men? Who are they?
Huh?
Who are the black men who are giving you problems? Who are they?
Why should they bang anybody in equal numbers?
I'm asking you. I'm making the question. My question has always been from day one. I want specificity on these problematic black men. Who are they?
Don't know or care, but I mean, I do want to.
You don't, but I do. That has been my position from day one.
You mentioned like if they should fuck each of them equally. I want to dig into that. So you're saying that I should get just as much pussy from Michael B. Jordan?
I never made that argument.
So elaborate on what do you mean?
I just did.
So you think that black men should have equal opportunity?
I never made that argument.
So explain. I'm asking you to explain what you meant when you said that they should fuck dads and cads equally.
I said if they were doing so in equal number, then it wouldn't matter. What I'm saying.
All right. So he's basically saying, and I can understand this. He's saying that the reason why they're having problems is because they're fucking the wrong dudes. And that's something I think that most guys can agree with.
So it matters. Why does it matter?
Because I want to know who the problem black men are. I want to know who they are. I want it Quantico.
Now, you don't really have to ask women who they're fucking to determine who the problem black men are, because these type of black men would cause problems outside of who they're fucking.
Quantico FBI profiler. What's the profile of this problematic black men? List it out for me.
Okay.
I want to know who they are. I'm not satisfied with just black men ain't shit. That's not good enough. If we were working a case in the FBI, you need a profile of the problem people. I know profiling is uncomfortable for black people, black men in particular. I get it. But just because profiling was misused does not mean that profiling is not useful. I want to know the profile of the black men that black women complain about. They have been very vague, I say intentionally so, because it keeps from having to get to really their accountability. They don't want to take accountability for choosing a certain type of black man based on the Quantico profile principle. A lot of black women don't want.
Okay. So once again, this is a concern about who the black women are choosing. And I'm going to dig into the woman on the panel. I forget her name. I called her Erica, but I'm going to dig into the woman on the panel to determine who are they choosing and why and what are the results of their choices. So Yeah.
Want to do that because a lot of black women don't want to be caught holding a bag.
What's the profile of the black man that they choose? I'm curious.
That's what we're trying to get at. That's what we're trying to find out.
The lady in the bottom, what's your profile?
What do you mean?
What's the profile of the last man you fucked?
Well, I don't know. What's that? What is that?
Is she complaining about black? Is she complaining about a problematic black man?
No, I'm just curious on who they fucked.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about black women who have been complaining for decades about black men ain't shit, black men ain't doing this, black men ain't leading, black men ain't building. Okay, so who are these black men that you're intimate with? What's the profile? Jackie has not expressed a concern about the problematic black men in her life that I'm aware of. The FBI doesn't go to the people who don't have concerns with crimes. The FBI goes to people who do have concerns with crimes. We are looking for the profile of the assailant, of the suspect. What is the profile?
So have you ever fucked a problematic black man?
Yes.
What was his profile, please?
What is? I don't understand the profile part.
So by profile, I mean, what would he look like if he stood facing right, then center, then left, holding a number? What's his profile?
That was a bad joke. I admit it. It was either a bad joke or it didn't hit the mark, but nevertheless, could have did without that.
No joking.
Like I have to give him a rating or something?
Well, Obsidian, what do you mean by profile? Please elaborate.
Hey, okay, well, I think I can ask the question better. I think what's being got at here, and I don't care to ask this question, but I think this is what's being asked of you, Jackie Jack. I think they're saying, were the men who gave you who were problematic to your life, were those men what Obsidian would call the Cads or the Pookie and Ray Rays? Were they, the hood nigga types? That's I think that's what they're asking.
It was both.
Now, I'm mistaken. The question was to associate Cads with Pookie and Ray Ray. So that's a mistake on Bernard's part because, and a lot of people who proudly proclaim that camp, they do like to rope in a bunch of positives black men into that camp. Like they rope in the athletes, like everybody else just tend to be in the nerd camp and they're in the athlete, handsome, cool guy, charismatic camp. Like, but that's them aggrandizing themselves just as Obsidian is attempting to aggrandize himself. And that's kind of what Bernard did, but Obsidian put the grouping together like that.
But hold on, do you understand? Hold on, do you understand what CADs are?
Cads, I don't know what
CADs are like, I think Obsidian would define that as like just a conspicuously handsome, smooth, suave playboy type. Yeah. Like a guy who he ain't necessarily a Pookie or a hood dude, but he's still he's that guy who's a man about town, as Obsidian calls it. So would those be the type of guys that I think that's what they're asking you? I don't care to ask, but that's what they're asking you. Are those type of guys that have caused you
All right, so number 16 says, "Oh man, want capitalism for his money, socialism for his penis." I don't know. That's just. I'm trying to get at what he's getting at, which is why I'm really going to question this woman, and I'm also trying to just separate him from this belief that, first of all, he's under the impression that Pookie is handsome, why? Which is why I had the picture up of Lil Wayne. I mean, would you say he's handsome? Like, I mean, come on now, let's be real. Like, I think he's the second ugliest black dude that I know of in real life, or that I've ever seen. So, yeah, I don't really know if Pookie is necessarily handsome. In fact, I know that there really isn't like a draw for a handsome man to become Pookie, or vice versa. I think like one is a personality type, the other is a look. So and it's Michael B. Jordan Pookie. That's another reason why I bought use his picture. Like, I mean, come on now, let's be realistic. Stop putting Pookie and Cad in the same category. So that was a mistake in the framing of this question.
Problem.
Yes. The Cad
Okay.
and the Pookie. Yes.
Okay, and by extension, I think what Obsidian would want to ask you, would you say guys who are more on the spectrum of whatever the hell an educated lame is, have those guys been the ones causing whatever? Have those guys caused any problems?
No.
Okay. There you go, Obsidian. You got an answer from one TED Live subject. There you go. All right. Anybody?
Let me yes, did you
Okay. So Switch Life, thanks for becoming a member. But so right now she just say that, you know, she's getting the problems from all guys. Like somebody said in the chat room. She's getting the problem from all guys, and yeah, she's going to move forward, you know, like she's dating the guys, and you know, this is now this isn't what Obsidian wants. What Obsidian wants is he wants her to say that the problematic guys are these cads / pookies. And of course, he's leading to the inevitable conclusion that your problems will be solved by fucking me.
you distribute the pussy evenly?
Now, this is me, of course, just trolling Obsidian.
Okay, she can go answer that one.
Yes.
Yes. What's the question?
Did you distribute the vagina evenly? Meaning, did you have sex with as many cads as you did educated lames?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if you had to give a percent, would you say it's 60-40, 70-30, 50-50? What would you say?
I mean, Cads and Pookies are really for just sex. I mean, that's
So you have an unhealthy distribution.
so,
You have a disbalance.
no, I wouldn't say that, because I'm usually in relationships with, I guess, the educated lane. So I have sex more when I'm in a relationship. But Cads and Pookies are usually just for.
Now, once again, notice she's saying cads and pookies. She's so she's basically putting two categories against one category.
For that.
That's what when you single and
Yeah.
when you have your single moments where when you're temporarily for the streets, you find the cookies and the cats. That's what you're saying.
Well, wait a minute. How do strictly sexual relationships go wrong? I'm curious.
I mean, usually it's because they have like a lot of drama going on around their lives. Like,
yeah, but I mean, what does that?
They're needy. Like they don't. It's like it's just. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a lot.
The casual sex evolved into more of a whole entanglement.
Exactly.
And you've been in some real relationships with some, and you've got touchy, you've got feelings and got emotionally attached to some, and you probably had a couple babies by some, stuff like that. Nothing major.
I don't have any kids.
Mm-hmm.
No babies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had an educated lame that was handsome?
Oh, yeah.
Good point.
What category, when you was giving your statistics, did you place him in? Curious.
If the attractive educated lame?
Someone who's both CAD and educated lame, yeah.
Well,
what category did you place him in?
If I think they're both, the CAD part probably don't outweigh the educated lame part.
And
that's the premise of this show. Is that CAD, meaning looks, is more important than education. Once again, looks, as far as casual sex goes, because that's what we're talking about. That's what I say in hookup culture. Looks trumps education. You know, she's looked at that as more important. Therefore, she puts them in that category. You see, we don't really know because they put Pookie and Cad in the same category. We don't know how many of those guys were Cad and how many of those guys were Pookie. We just know that a large majority of them were, some of them were Cad and educated lame. Some of them were Cad and Pookie. It's a weird breakdown. You know, so the ones that she put in the educated lame category are men who are both educated lame or the men who are educated lame and unattractive. And for whatever reason, well, for obvious reasons, these are the ones that have longer lasting relationships.
The reason why you had more CAD, because you classified a large number of educated lames as CADs, correct?
Right, yeah.
Now, is it safe to say that you don't frequently sleep with unattractive men?
I don't frequently sleep with unattractive men. Yes, that's correct.
So the majority of the men that you slept with were attractive, and you placed them in the CAD category for that reason. I would like for you to take the CAD category and divide it into two subcategories. Ones that are educated lames and ones who are not. And what would you say the breakdown is there?
I'm going to be all the way honest. Most of the CADs are like, they're educated. They just don't get the lame part attached to it.
And there you go. So, yeah, she seems to, her primary pool of men that she desires are both attractive and educated. That is what she's going for. However, so we have three. We have unattractive and uneducated. We have educated and unattractive. And then we have the intersection of that, which is what she's shooting for, and which is what many women are shooting for, is men who are both attractive and educated. So the opposite ends are the extremes. On one extreme, you have the Pookie Ray Ray, who would be someone who is unattractive and uneducated and problematic to society. There's a whole bunch of other implications with that. And then, you know, there is on the extreme opposite of the other side, there's someone who is educated, but socially awkward, as well as what people would just call lame, whatever that means. So I think it just means unspectacular in this context. But the bulk of what she's going for is the attractive, educated type. Now, I want to explore more of where this is leading her. So we already know what her pinnacle is. We already understand what her prime peen is. Keep in mind, and this isn't a shot, but it is something that's necessary to be said because he brought up the topic. He doesn't fit that criteria. I'm not going to judge his looks. I am going to judge his education. He does not and cannot fit that particular criteria, unless he, of course, becomes educated. So that alone may be the reason why there's a lash out, but I think that the lash may be misdirected when it's at Pookie Ray Ray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that's just something that people put in arbitrary. But you like most women prefer the company of, you know, intelligent, handsome men, correct?
Yes.
And did they seem just as likely to do you wrong as the uneducated handsome men?
Oh.
To me, it's.
And that is what Obsidian, this is the core of what Obsidian is talking about. This is the core of it. He's saying that, are your complaints coming from the handsome guys that are Pookie? Or is it just coming from the handsome guys? So,
like, it's a different type of wrong. I don't.
Please elaborate.
it's a different type of wrong because
It's educated wrong, but please elaborate.
Yeah,
I know where she's
like,
going. I know where she. Okay, I'm not gonna lead the witness, but I do know where she's going. Go ahead.
yeah, with the educated guy, the wrong they're doing is sometimes okay. This gonna sound bad. The wrong they're doing is they don't want to settle down. That you see that as wrong.
Okay, so we get that part. Basically, the wrong that the educated guys is doing is not wanting them enough. Essentially, shout out to Ramil, the wrong that the educated guys are doing is pumping and dumping her. That the educated and handsome guys are doing. That's their wrong.
When it's with the Pookie, it's just they have a lot of drama. They like to have some baby mama drama or something.
But they want to settle down too.
I mean, some Pookies don't want to settle down. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. This isn't my opinion or anything like that, and this isn't something I'm just judging, the plurality of women, black women on. But basically, what I'm getting here is that it seems, and this is contrary to what Obsidian believes, and that is that the handsome Pookie is trying to wife the women that the handsome educated lame don't want. This is a case. What she's describing is a case of Pookie taking the leftovers of the educated lane.
But a lot of them are okay with, finding a place to, I guess, sleep. Dang. So like they
basically it sounds like you messed with some Pookies who really rocked with you because you probably had a warm couch for them to sleep on and everything. But with the more sophisticated, educated guy who had his own warm place that you could see yourself coming into, he didn't actually want you to come into that. But so that's what you meant by a different type of problem.
Well, they all were.
He was nice. No. It was cool being around him. It was nice. It was pleasant. It was peaceful. You got attached, and he like, hold on, I'm just fucking you. So that's why a lot of chicks that's why a lot of chicks will say it ain't no different. They all fuck boys all the same, but because
Okay, somebody said females like hood dudes because of a warped craving for domination and validation. The man projects sometimes overcompensating and dominating demeanor that will proudly validate, show her off. So I see far too many Pookies holding an overweight woman's purse in the grocery store to actually say dominant. Like I don't. When I see relationships like that, I don't really see Pookie in a dominant position. I wish I did. I truly do wish I did. Like more relationships where he's walking ahead and she's like 2 steps behind and stuff like that with her hands crossed or with her wrists crossed and stuff. Like I wish I seen that, but like on War Star Hip Hop, when I'm seeing like a chick just yelling and going off on some dude, it's typically a Pookie. Like that's, don't get me wrong, the ELs get it too, but like as far as a trope, as far as like a general understanding of who's gonna put up with this shit, it's typically a Pookie.
I hate the term that educated lame. Well, I mean, if he's truly an educated lame, it's how I define it. he's happy to take what he can get, and he's going to just hop right in that relationship, whole hog. But that guy who's educated but on that CAD spectrum, that's the guy who's actually going to be generous and preaching nice. But because he's good looking and educated, and probably has monetized that intelligence and make good money. So he's good looking, he make good money, he got it all going. That's that guy that got those options to the point to where the women saying, well, where have all the good men going? And they all it's only such a small percentage of men out there, and everything that it turns into that guy. You get attached to that guy, but that guy got options, and you just he ain't about to settle down with you, but you end up wanting to settle down with him. So then you end up settling for a more ratchet pookie situation, because at least you got something he wants. The educated CAD dude got something that you want, and you're trying to get that from him. You can't get that from him. You end up rocking with the dude who you got something he wants. He's trying to get it from you. That puts you in a position of power to be in control in that relationship, or at least feel like you control the situation until all his baby mama drama and bullshit come at your doorstep, and then you realize you ain't got no control in that situation, and then all men ain't shit. Is that about accurate?
I mean, I wouldn't say the last part because
you would.
Since I've been in the sphere, I understand why it's like that, because I didn't understand it before, but it makes so much sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bernard, I think you got something wrong, because you said that. You said that the uneducated man, they are just looking for a warm place to stay, or they're looking for a warm place to get into, and you're saying that she's looking to get into the educated man's warm place. I think all the men got into her warm place. Yeah.
Well, now, Obsidian, that was the moment for you to play the Pornhub thing. That was
I'll take a while on. Yeah. But no, well, somebody says sloppy seconds. I don't, I don't care if I'm a person seconds. I really don't care about body counts that much. But no, I do want to say that you made a good point that there is a different type of fuckery. I don't want to leave with the impression that that your vagina is safe, because a guy is a PhD or anything like that. Your vagina is never safe,
And that's what I wanted to get at. I wanted to, because what I think is being sold here is that your vagina is safe if you don't mess with this guy. Your vagina is safe if you don't mess with the CADs, or you don't mess with the Pookies, or you don't mess with the Masters of the Universe. Your vagina is safe when you mess with the guy who has dad qualities but isn't a dad. I think that that's what the narrative that was being pushed is. And I'm here to say that it's not that type of party. Basically, the only way your vagina is safe is if you get with a man that no other woman wants. That's the only way. The way is you get with the guy that can't cheat. And the problem with that particular strategy, and this is a Black woman problem primarily, is that they work in a collective. So let's just say that they all got together and said, I'm going to start messing with the 45K brother, the 45K blue collar Black man. Then there will be such an influx to the 45K blue collar Black man that he will become the new players. The average looking 45K Black man. He will become the new player class because they all decided to go after this particular group.
I'll be the best pick me you can be, and give the vagina to the best man that's willing to take it and hope for the best. I don't know.
That's the strategy.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
If I may, I would like to respond to something GameChanger said. GameChanger is a brilliant man, but today he triggered Pablo.
Okay.
More men should be like more Black American men should be like Pablo. They absolutely should be like Pablo. Pablo doesn't have a criminal record. Pablo has a college degree, 2 of them. Pablo's been gainfully employed for almost 30 years of his adult life. Pablo is a homeowner, taxpayer, married man. Pablo is many things. You see, I'm speaking in the third person.
Yeah, it sound like you reading off your eHarmony dating profile. You like
well, he.
And once again, this is another example of, because Black women think in a collective, Black men seem to be trying to steer that collective to their own personal penis. Meaning that, the collective should come to my penis. When personally, I believe that the collective should just disband completely.
He's married.
You like foreign films and long walks through the park, Pablo? I mean,
my ultimate point is this. I don't want them to be like me, so that I don't saying more guys should be like me because I can get more pussy. It's because we need a cultural change in some of the dystopian cultural bugaboos that we have in America. If more people were like Pablo, Black America would be just fine. We'd be competitive. We would have, 2-parent homes and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, they should more be like Pablo.
I mean, I agree with you, Pablo. I mean, I don't see what the disagreement with me was, because I was saying how she should be, or how women in general should be, not really how.
No, I think he was going back to when you made that statement about Obsidian, because Obsidian has been, I'm paraphrasing, but he's been quoted. What the hell? He's been quoted as saying that women, they need to get with men like me.
Yeah, I never said that. But here's my position. My position has been, I'm asking a question. I got started in doing all this because of the lack of specificity on the part of Black women when discussing these issues. They've always framed it as if it was a problem across the board with Black men. In the years since I got started in 2015, more and more information has come out that has proven that Black men are not an undifferentiated block, that we're not monolithic. We are very different from each other in a lot of different ways. So it raises the question as to where Black women are complaining about Black men. Black women now want us to believe that this is something that's seen across all social classes of Black.
So we just clarified that her complaints is through various different groups of the collective of Black men. Her complaints is like, she has one complaint from one group, another complaint from another group, a third complaint from a third group. Like, she has various different complaints from various different groups of men that she's been with. And I think that many Black women are the same way. Once again, what he's looking for is evidence that they just go to Pookie and that's why they have problems. Like, it's a lot more complicated than that. And he wants to also say that the solution to the problem is to avoid cads and Pookies. Basically, and if a cad is a handsome guy, he's telling women to avoid handsome guys and avoid Pookie. That's really?
Black men, all income graduates, all education level. Again, not true. For example, the idea that educated Black men even some of them don't want to settle down. Not true. The highest group of black men to marry in Black America are the most educated. You want to know the least likely to get married are the least educated. That's a fact. So when black women complain about black men not wanting to settle down, we have to ask the educational level of the black men in question. Are black men like Pablo, who possess 2 degrees, are they the guys that don't want to settle down? We know that's not true. He's married. So who are they talking about? Who? Quantico. Who? What's the profile?
Well, I mean, you asked for a sample population, and she gave it. You know, educated men did seem less likely to settle down. Now, the statistic could also be a result of women being less willing to settle down with uneducated men. And I think that might be her case because she said that these guys came with different problems, and those problems are things that she don't want to settle down to. So I don't think that, you know, yes, I believe the statistics that you quoted. I just don't think that it shows a male pattern behavior. I think it shows a female pattern behavior.
Well, it definitely shows a female pattern behavior. That's the whole point of me asking.
And that's basically what I was getting at. Because from what she was saying, she wanted to marry the educated, handsome guy, and they didn't want to marry her. And she said that the uneducated, handsome guys had all sorts of problems that she likely didn't want to marry. So, you know, I get it. He wants to paint the picture that educated guys are just sitting around with a dick in their hand, hoping that, you know, women come and hop on it so they can give them a ring. I mean, they can hop on it. That doesn't mean they're going to get a ring. It just doesn't. It's not that simple.
Asking the question of the ladies to be more specific about who they're talking about.
No, I mean that an unwillingness to settle down with uneducated men amongst black women. I think
that's no great shock. Everybody knows that women prefer more educated men than less educated men for long-term mating. So that's no great shock.
Yeah, but what I think you're concluding from the statistics is that the women are not going after the educated men. But what she's saying is that in her attempts to go after the educated men, like Pablo, you know, it's short-lived. It's very.
The question would need to be, why would that be? Why would it be short-lived? Is it purely just simply because those men don't want to settle down, or is it because the women that want to be picked by these educated men don't meet their standards? Because we also know that men are very choosy.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's the point I was getting at. You just rephrased it. These women would like educated, handsome men. It's just that it's very difficult to get the men like that to settle down. Because they say stuff like fat women aren't women and, you know, don't deserve our love or respect. So, yes, you will find standards amongst certain cohorts of men that you won't find amongst other cohorts of men. You know, but I mean, what Obsidian was initially attempting to do was to say that they primarily date these knuckleheads, these world star hip hop types, and all the complaints they have is because they date that type. But what I'm saying is, not dating that type of dude will not solve the problem. And the problem is that they are good enough to bed, but not good enough to wed to another group of men. That's the problem. They must improve their own quality to get with the guys that they want. And in this case, it seems like the guys, and this isn't an individual shot at her, salute to her, you know. And in this case, the guys that they want seem to be educated, both educated and handsome.
See, when it comes to long-term mates.
Yes, we are.
So
yeah, it's a ladder.
So we have to ask a question for the ladies for whom it applies. They're having a hard time locking down an educated man. They have to ask themselves, are they competitive? Are they a competitor?
That's what I brought up earlier when I said, you know, be the best pick me you can be. All right. Let me get 10 more likes.
Competitive long-term mate.
Do you ask yourself that, Erica?
Erica.
Oh, I assumed her name was Erica.
No, that's Janet Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean Jackie Jack.
Oh, dang.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I look at people and I guess their name. So my bad.
I've come to that conclusion. Yeah, they just didn't want to settle with me because some of those people that I tried to get a relationship with, they got in a relationship with someone else later on, like a couple of years later. I was just not right fit.
What do you do? What's your improvement routine to snag a Pablo? Like, what do you do? Oh, I'm curious. Like, is it working out? Do you practice sandwich getting? Do you compete with other women on getting sandwiches faster? Like, what do you do?
I don't compete for men right now because I'm in a relationship.
Okay, so but you competed to get into that relationship, correct?
Yeah, I did.
And is he Pablo-esque?
He's not Pablo-esque. He's just a regular guy.
What's his profile?
Profile.
Educational level. What's the extent of his formal education?
He's just blue collar.
He's blue collar. So it sounds like.
Why did you say Jeff?
I didn't even catch it.
I didn't say it. Okay. I didn't say it in that way. I said it in a way because you.
All right. Well, let's get this on. Okay. So hold on, City. He's just blue collar, and I'm just curious. How does he feel about a panel of men having a very indirect conversation about your vagina?
I'm pretty sure he wouldn't like that. Not gonna lie, he wouldn't like that. But I was not expecting that. I had to just go with it.
Go ahead. All right. Go ahead.
What it sounded like to me is that that water sought its own level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're at the same level. Yeah, right. I was reaching too high.
So salute to Steph King scale. Steph is cold, my bad. Because he brings up an excellent point, and that is she just exists, doesn't compete. Exactly. So here you have a woman who obviously placed some premium on education and, of course, looks. That's obvious. You know, she wants that dude. And what I was asking was, what do you do to get that dude? And she just say, I don't. What I do is I remain myself, and I made happy, or I made home with the dude that I was getting, and that's the blue collar guy that she's with now. You know, and this isn't a shot at blue collar dudes. This is just she has a hierarchy, and she went to the middle instead of for altering herself to get the guy that she wants. And guess what? Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. What I want to do is, and the reason why I did this stream is I want to point out like how important looks are. Like, I think a lot of guys sleep on that. Like, while we focus, okay, so like the white dudes, the white manosphere content creators, they have LMS, looks, money, status. And because things are hyper competitive, and Steph agrees, ever since the invention of stuff like Tinder and stuff, you know, things aren't what they used to be. Women who back in the day in 2010, a woman would say, I just want a guy that's 6 foot. Now they saying I want a guy that's 6'5", you know, or in 2010, you know, 70K was enough, but now they want 170K, you know, like that's just what it is. That's just the way the whole dynamic has shifted, and everybody is looking for an advantage, you know, looks, money, status. Looks is something that a man has the least control over. And money is something that he has more control over than his looks, but less control over than his status. And status is where he ranks in whatever social structure he is in. And the importance of that social structure. And that is why we're competing over these scraps. We want that social structure, you know, looks is damn near impossible to augment. You know, money is very difficult to augment, but status, you want to change the woman's perception of how she values status. You want her to, one, value status more. You want status to be the most important thing in her repertoire because it's something that you have the most control over. If you don't have status, at least you can appear to have status. So you want that, you want to put that in the forefront of what she's looking for. And then you want to augment how she views status. So there's one group of guys who's like, I want you to view status as this, as how hood I am. I'm so hood. And that is how much status I have because of how gold my teeth are. So I want you to ignore the looks and money. And I want you to focus solely on my status. I'm Big G from such and such block, from the block. And I represent the block. That's my status. And then on the other hand, and this is more so the case with Obsidian, and you seen, what Pablo was doing with his status. It's like, okay, I have these degrees, I have, this and this, financial security, financial consistency. I've worked in, that's really more to the money portion, but still, he's putting it off as status because there is an overlap between LMS. There is an overlap. Looks do affect your money. Once again, halo effect. Shout out to Steph Cleanscale. He makes a lot of money doing what he do on his channel, and is largely because it's partly and largely a fitness channel, meaning that he attracts people based on how fit he is. So looks does affect your money and status, and your money, of course, affects your status anyway. But everybody, in the Black ministry, there's so many groups of people trying to champion their status, and it is putting all the brothers into these categories, and we're fighting for the right to do this. Be like, I want you to come at my status. I want you to come at my status. But listen, at the end of the day, no matter how much you champion your status, no matter how much you do this, blah, 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 come to me, my degree, come to me, I'm so hood. No matter how much you do that, you are still ignoring that these chicks are going to, like, the guy with the looks or money is going to snatch. Now, I want y'all to recall that episode of hit the like button. I want y'all to call that episode of the Pineapple Show. I want y'all to call that episode of the Pineapple Show. That one chick, she was shooting brothers down off looks. Now, not to say she didn't shoot brothers down off of other stuff, but she was shooting brothers and others. She was shooting people down like immediately, 3 seconds. Looks, shoot down. And then, she went to the money and, like, what do you do for a living and stuff like that. And then she went to status. Like, period. Like, it wasn't nothing those guys could do. Y'all are delusional if y'all think that you can just overwhelm a vagina with hoodness, or you can overwhelm a vagina with education and academic achievements and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, if that equates to money, if one of those two things equates to money, then yeah, because you got two of the three deadly sins. Like, if you're a hood dude and you're making money off of it, then hey, you got 2 out of the 3. And if you're an educated dude with the PhD and then you got the 2 out of 3. But don't get it twisted. It is not worth fighting each other over. It's not. It's not. Do you think I give a damn if some chick is with some hood nigga? I truly don't. Listen, it's rare. It's rare. And I've seen it in high school, but as I got to know both people involved, it turns out that they just grew up together. It's rare that you see like this super bad chick. Hit the like button. It's rare that you see this super bad chick that's with a hood dude that's both ugly and broke. That shit is rare. That shit is rare. Same with the educated, dude. Like that is rare. That is rare that you see that. You know, like you he's ugly, and she even said that, look, I'm looking for a dude who, or she said, I got shot down by the dudes who are both handsome and educating. And this goes back to college. Like, she got shot down by those dudes because they're checking off two of the boxes. And, hopefully in their case, pretty soon, once they graduate, they'll have the money too. So, like, these dudes know that they hitting the 3-4. Like, we over here fighting over one thing, over one aspect of the trifecta. I mean, and we should be fighting. Do you think I fight niggas over how handsome they are? Like, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not gonna attack another man's money. If a dude has more money and therefore he has greater access to women, I do not attack that. If a dude is better looking, and I talked about that when Grinch was on the show, and I'm talking about in my personal life. I'll be damned if I do something like that on the internet. The internet is full of better looking niggas. So, that'll just be like a, futile endeavor. But anyway, so just as ridiculous as it is to attack a man on looks and money, it's also ridiculous to try to pull her desire for status in your direction. It's just fruitless. And I get it. Like, brothers are trying to, because let's be clear, the pool is low. The pool is low. There are so few fit, feminine, friendly in the community of women that we have first access to, that brothers are just starting to do the most to get the least. And that includes dirty macking, and we look foolish. We look foolish. Somebody says incels is trying to thug max. I don't know. I don't, the whole incel thing. I don't know if the dude is an incel or not. Like, like, who women choose to be with is really so far across the board. And I'm talking about just for primary sex. I'm not talking about for relationships. Before I was talking about for relationships, but just for like sexual gratification, it's all across the board. So I'm not gonna assume anybody is a incel, but I do want to focus on this status piece, because the status piece is also, and it has been for quite some time, a back door to pussy. Like, you look at that whole Princess Frog movie, and dude was like the brokest, he was the brokest prince alive, some dude from France. And he get with this chick who apparently, even though she was like a baker's daughter or something, had more money than he. So he was the brokest prince alive. And he got it just on his status, just the name alone, just the fact that he is a prince, and I think he was handsome. I don't know. And trust me, I'm not judging a male cartoon. I'm just going off of, did they call him handsome? Like, was he written in the script as the handsome prince, or was he just written as the broke prince of France or some crap like that? So, I don't really remember how that worked. I do know that he, that he was the world's only broke prince, but the name still had status. That's how brothers are trying to get it. They're trying to get it off of, I got status, so give it to me. And what that's highlighting, I'll be honest with you, brothers. And this isn't what I'm seeing, this is what the women are seeing. The fact that you're fighting so hard to prove that you have status really is saying that you don't have anything else. You're saying that come to my status because I don't have the other qualities that you're looking for. And at that point, and trust me, this is how the X chromosome brain works. Once you have said that, even if she thought you had or she appreciated what you had in the other two categories, she's going to see it as less than now. For example, say you're a reasonably handsome dude with a reasonable income, but you're out competing, you're warring with other men on the basis of status. From her, she's gonna be like, hey, he was cute, but now why is he so focused on status? Maybe he's not as cute as I thought. Or she was like, okay, he has a good income. He makes twice the I'm just throwing this out there. He makes twice the average. He makes 90K, but it's not six figures, and he feels inadequate because all these bitches like six figures, but a chick was perfectly fine with your 90K until you started throwing status out there. You come off as a clown, like this dude. He was a consultant at a place I used to work at, right? And he went to Cornell. He was super white, like Mormon and everything. He was super white. And how did I know he went to Cornell? Because he had a flag. He actually had a flag of his alma mater on his desk. And I'm not talking about like like one of those little flags that you wave at a game or something, or you're at a Trump rally and you wave that little American flag or something like that. Nah, this was like a full flagpole flag. He was proud, and don't get me wrong, I will be happy too. If I was that dude. If I went to Cornell and graduated from Cornell, that is something to brag about. And it's something that's better brought up in casual conversation. Yeah, the office, like Andy. Yeah. But it's something that you can bring up in like casual conversation. It's not something that you bring up just because. Like, it's not something that you damn sure put a flag on. You look fool. I mean, he's already married, so he's not really, tripping on stuff like that. But you look foolish. You look like these chicks that be like, oh, I got my master's and I'm a PhD. Shut up, Kevin. So I'm a PhD. You sound like that. You sound like the male version of that when you start with, because that's a status thing for them. When you start with, I am so this particular status thing. I'm not saying it don't matter, but it matters very, very, very little. And you're talking about a subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory. Let's break it down. Like, if you were to divide evenly into those things, look, money, status, right? Then the status portion would be 1/3 of that. And then if you were to break down the different variations of how women measure status, that would be a subcategory. That's like so basically of the 33%, you're taking that down, dividing that by 10. So you're talking about a 3%. Basically, if you max out your hoodness and you max out your pookiness, et cetera, you get a 3% leverage over, the other dude with equal looks and money. Is it really, really worth it? Is it really worth it? All right, let me check the super chats and stuff and see. then I'm gonna close. Or actually, let's see. Time is it? Yeah, I'll go to 2. All right, 30 minutes if y'all want to come up. Oh, actually, she said something else, so I'm gonna play while I read the chat room. Hit the like button.
Right.
And I
That's good.
realized I
That's
couldn't
good.
do
Respect
that.
that. Respect
What the
that.
hell?
Yeah.
Water saw its own level there.
Why are
So-
you saying that?
Huh?
No. If she's saying that she was trying to get some higher earning, educated, nice looking, handsome, suave dude to be in a committed monogamous relationship with her, and it wasn't working, she realized she was punching out of her league. Something that we always say that, yeah, you can get dick from guys like that, but you're not going to get a relationship from that guy unless you meet certain standards and requirements. She's being honest, saying she did realize she didn't meet that, so she went and got her, a hard-working blue-collar man who's willing to commit to her. She did the
I
right
get
thing.
it. I get it, but I don't think you understand. But not, do you see yourself on a lower level than me or Pablo?
No,
So that's what it insinuates. You see
no.
what I'm saying?
I understand. Okay, he's not a lower level as just a man in the world who
I don't
it's
want
such
that
thing.
to be the thinking.
All right, I understand. I understand where you're
What
going.
kind of thinking? What kind of thinking? What kind of thinking would you like
That's
to?
my thinking.
What kind of thinking would you like to see happen, Game Changer?
Somebody said I have no degree, but I do. But I only have one. I don't want the thinking to be that that the hierarchy of men go Pablo Game Changer, Bernard, or Pablo Game Changer.
Well,
I don't want that. I don't. I think that women put too much emphasis on education.
Well, okay. Well, take me, you, and Pablo out of it. I do think there's a such thing as a hierarchy of men. If we're talking about, let's just say she can get a tall, handsome, high-earning man.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this, because I'm not trying to control her view of stat. Well, I am to a certain extent, but basically, I do think that a lot of chicks I do think that as far as the status things go, the blue collar brother, and by blue collar brother, I do mean like the men that work with their hands. I do think that in the black community, they get shitted on where they shouldn't. Like other communities have a greater respect for their. I'm talking about from the women, the firefighters, the police officers. The what do you call those people at the Port of Oakland? The people who receive the products, and they make money. Don't sleep on it. They make money. You know, those guys, stevedores or something like that, right? Like those guys, the people who work for the utility companies and stuff like that, they make money, and these chicks will overlook them. Listen, it's weird that you could be a plumber, right? And those of you who own your home and you call the plumber, you know that it's pricey. So the price that they charge for labor is how much they make when they come to your house. And that's like 165. Same with like locksmiths and stuff like that. So make no mistake, they making money. And especially if you start owning your own business and then you got people working under you and you're making money off of them, they're making money. My homeboy's uncle's an electrician. That dude got money. Huge house in the Oakland Hills, right? And that's where like the athletes and stuff stay.
Yeah, especially in installing doors and stuff like that too.
Yeah. So there's money in the trade. So these dudes will have the money portion of it, but these chicks will shoot them down because of some sense of weird status and prestige because that comes with a degree. Like, there are dudes with, like a sociology degree or something like that. That's, I mean, they're doing well, but they may have been better off with an HVC license, and I'm sick of sisters, overlooking it. And I'm an educated dude. This isn't me trying to bring them to my dick. I'm an educated dude. I'll win off of that. if all the chicks in the world just say, "Oh, I want to do the education," and but oh, okay, I can give you that, But I'm just saying, like, listen, y'all, this is something I tell my little sister, like, don't look over that, that Air Force sergeant. Don't do that to yourself. Don't look over that Navy SEAL. Don't look over that Army Ranger. Like, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself bad.
You know what?
So that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
sorry.
I heard. Go for it, Jayla.
No, I sent. Yeah, you're right. Because I sent you a video on Instagram. I don't know if you looked at it recently. It was a video of short guys. They was having a short date with a whole bunch. It was a whole bunch of short guys, and they was like, yeah, women that are included like 5'10" or over. It was a whole bunch of pretty women that came to the date, like in a bar or something, like a lounge. They was like 5'10", 5'11", and they was all getting with the short guys. I said, and the fucked up part of this about it, not and like in the white community, they don't judge or don't like, this is my opinion. I don't know, but they don't judge or don't like these like exaggerating standards for like, for their men. But it seems like I see now. So it's sad that we have to go through this because these, hypergamy, like, it's like, type of situation that we gotta like, go through, like, like over hoops and shit like that, in order to like get a good woman and shit, to find a woman and shit, or just to have sex with them and shit. Man, it's just sad. I see that. It's a video I showed you, like all them short guys, and they didn't have no problem with dating, finding, getting with a short guy. That's all. It was like.
So Steph, and I forget how tall Steph was, but I remember he wasn't a taller dude. I don't think, and he's saying that no, they do. Yeah, see, Josh, I don't want you to think that the way women behave online is the way that they behave off camera.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
the situation you're describing, and I didn't see the video that you got me. I didn't check my Instagram, but I will, because I didn't see that. But the situation you're describing is somebody said to a group of women, "Hey, would you like to be on? Would you like to be on TV? All you have to do is entertain a short guy for some period of time." You see what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So we're not really getting a sample population of the number of women that are into short guys. What we're getting is a sample population of the number of women who are willing to date shorter guys just to be, just for their 15 minutes of fame. It's a huge difference because we know how women like attention.
Right. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, you're right about that. That's one thing about that. Yeah, you can't be misleading. Yeah, you're right about that. It's just that for us, it's like we gotta be up over 5'10". We gotta have 6 figures. We gotta have, a stable job. We gotta have good credit and car. What type of standards? We gotta have all these high standards from these chicks, man. And I be seeing like, other races, women dating the short guy. I mean, dating guys, they like short as hell. They got the dime and shit. They ain't complaining about shit. That's why I was like,
right. Well, I mean, the divide is greater, and Steffi covered this in one of his videos where white dudes were talking about, how there isn't this new problem that's developed of ridiculously outrageous standards. But see, these are guys that came from different communities. Though the problem exists there, it's nowhere near to the extent that it exists in our community because amongst Black women, the unwillingness to settle is extraordinary. Like the woman that was on Bernard's, I forget her name, but the woman that was on Bernard's, she eventually settled, and which is the smart thing to do if you're not going to improve and to actually get you that educated, extraordinarily handsome guy.
She said it because she had. She said it because she had to, not because she wanted.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is what I'm getting at, Josh. They don't actually have to. See, what they've done in previous generations is that they remained single before they settled. And that's what so many of them are doing, which is why their criteria is, so overwhelmingly ridiculous. And that's because they're more comfortable being single than all the other groups of women. If you tell a Asian woman that she is 23 years old and she's, she's not in a relationship, nor is she, or she's not in a relationship that's going to lead to marriage, she gets into panic mode. You know, white woman maybe 27, black woman 47. They don't get into panic mode until like ridiculously late in life.
Yeah, that's bad.
So
And
you know,
you're right about that. You're right about that.
So
I'm sorry.
Stethoscope said something that says, "Don't matter, he ain't a scammer." So I seen that video that you did, and basically check out his channel. He did a video where they were interviewing a bunch of women, and it was like, "I want a scammer. I want this, this, and this." First of all, most of the time, Steph, I don't really believe shit these bitches say ever. Sometimes, no, like quite often, they say stuff just to put other groups off. And sometimes they say what they want in the moment, like, you know, they want a guy who has these particular attribute, because that's the 20% that their current guy is lacking, meaning that they're with somebody who checks off all the boxes, but he doesn't make fast money, therefore he's selfish with the money that he does make, you know. Right quick. And often they're scammers themselves, and that's kind of the impression I got from this video. They're scammers themselves, and they want somebody to help with their escapade. Here's the thing about scamming: it's there was a time when that was a thing to do, and you actually could barely, but you could pay your rent off of it. And I say rent. And that was before, you know, sophisticated computer chips and things like that. Like it's a lot more difficult to do. A lot more difficult to do now. So they're just pipe dreaming, or dreaming about pipe, in my opinion on that. Right quick. Charles Merchant says for that pump and dump, the real Nagaga video. Yeah, so I did a video maybe like a week ago about how the black community, or how the, you know, Nagaga culture was pumped and dumped. So check that out. And thanks a lot, Charles Merchant. All right, and let's see. Final Fantasy. JT blocked me, even though I spelled his name right. Yeah, don't block people. Just time people out. Bring it to my attention if they say something, and I'll block them. But yeah. All right, let's see. All right, so yeah, I'll unblock you, or I'll check to see, but you know, I'll unblock you on that. But go ahead, Josh, you got it.
Oh, I was gonna say I just got off the panel a couple of hours ago with a guy. This guy was he was a what's it called? How can I say this? I used to be Pookie, but he had a friend up there, and he said, yeah, the manosphere is jealous of the Pookies. That's why the manosphere is jealous of the Pookies, because the Pookies are winning.
Well, I'm going to disassociate myself from the manosphere as time comes. This is a very difficult thing to do, because
the educated lane.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I guess I can, or you know, however people want to. I am educated, and if someone want to call me lame, that's fine. But you know, as I mentioned, it's not really a problem I have with Pookie or Ray Ray. Most certainly, and I said this before. Most certainly, jealousy. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this whole jealousy implication, that and I'm going to go one way with this, because I don't really think that it applies the other way the same. I don't really think that educated lames are jealous of Pookie, or else they would have become Pookie. You see, as I understand it, it's not very difficult. Now, I grew up in Oakland, and we don't have things like Crips and Bloods and stuff like that, you know. So it's probably easier here than it is in Southern California. But it doesn't seem very hard to be Pookie, especially if you grew up in the hood like I did. Like, you could just walk around and say pooky shit and do pooky stuff. It I don't. It's not very hard. So if someone is jealous, then they would just become pooky. And it's something you could do at any age. It's something that you can do like at any stage in your life. Like like right now, I could just call myself OG such and such from such and such neighborhood, and it would be accurate because I'm in my 40s and I'm from this neighborhood, and I can do that. And all I have to do is shout out the LAR movement, look sleepy and talk slow, and that's that. I'm pooky all of a sudden. It doesn't, if we were jealous, we would be doing that. If we were jealous, that's what we would be doing, but we're not doing. Yeah, or growing dreads or something like that, or like I can afford gold teeth, and if I was jealous, I would become that. So bear with me. Like, okay, say somebody is jealous of. Shout out to him again. Say somebody is jealous of Stephen's Cole, like myself, right? Jealous of his abs, right? In the sense that I wish I had abs like that. Now I'm okay with the ghostly outline that I'm rocking right now, but yes, I would prefer the abs that he has. Then I wouldn't go out and get them because it's too much stuff to do. It's just too much stuff. I'm older than him. So, I did have them before, but I don't now.
Older, I mean, nothing, man. You just gotta hard work, man. You just gotta dedicate,
Exactly. So I'm jealous. I'm just not jealous enough to wake my ass up at 5 a.m. and run 5 miles, like, and eat 6 eggs. I'm like, so yeah. However, it's easier to be pooky than it is to get those abs. It just is. So if there was true jealousy going on, then it would be that. I would see that reaction from brothers. I see a lot of pretend.
I'm hearing what you said, but it's from another source from a guy, because this guy was like, "Yeah, we taking over, we doing this, we fucking all the bitches, and they get mad at when they can't get, when they can't, all this type of stuff." But it's kind of cat, it's cat. Like you ain't, like you're not the only person they fucking. Like you think they all fucking. Which is kind of crazy. It's just kind of like a exaggerated. That's why I asked that question, to you. That's why I said that question to you. Brought that up to you.
Well, no, I just think it's a misconception. I don't know if they really mean anything by it. Maybe they do, but and maybe it's just like a shame, like to try to make a different side look worse. Like they're just a bunch of jealous guys, and maybe there's some truth in it. With the way Obsidian was talking. But he's not educated. So, I mean, maybe they could have a particular person in mind, but if that were really true, let's say Dennis Sperling, he would actually be like a wankster. He would be emulating.
Right.
Like that's what I'm assuming jealous people would do, especially when it's not that hard to do. Like, there are things that people are genuinely jealous of, and that's because they can't mimic it. Like if a person was jealous of another man's height, then yeah, or another man's looks, then yeah, because you can't really rightly emulate, Michael B. Jordan's looks or something like that, or money. It's very difficult to emulate someone's money, a very wealthy person's money. So, and it's nothing wrong with being jealous of a few characteristics of somebody, but don't dirty mac him and don't try to take him down. That's just played. Like, I'm not gonna walk up to what's her name, Lori Harvey, and say, why you fucking with handsome niggas? That's just dumb.
My only problem is this though, with the chicks that's saying this shit, is they fuck around with Pookie, but the thing is, they want like a Michael B. Jordan type of guy. Like, oh, I want Michael B. No. You don't. You stay over there. And the thing is, they don't want them, and the guys that they want don't want them. Like we said, they reject them and they get mad at attitude.
It's not much really wrong with what a woman's want, because I think those women are just saying that I want a guy that looks like Michael B. Jordan and I have access to Pookie. I think that's what they're really saying, which is fine. Like, look at what's that dude name? The mugshot, Jeremy Meeks. Like that's solely looks. And people who like that's a win for no, that is a win for dudes, light-skinned dudes with green eyes that look like that dude. Like that's a win for that particular thing.
Is it Jerry Makes that guy that went to jail and he went viral or something?
Yeah, from Stockton, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is that, I think that he would have got the attention and everything that he got no matter what he did. No matter what he did. And, like if he had a PhD or something like that, or, if he was a mechanic, like I think like, the way women responded to his look was just so overwhelming that he's gonna win no matter what.
But who's gonna win? The pretty boy guy?
Jeremy Meeks.
Jeremy Meeks.
Well, he's not average by the way women were reacting to his looks.
Yeah, that was
he's not average looking, I should say. He may be average in other regards, but he's not average.
Well, he was. Well, do you think he was not? There was not the part where he had pretty eyes. He was just light skinned, like women because they like he was light skinned and pretty light skinned guy. Well, or he was just a thug guy. He had both traits. He was pretty boy and a thuggish guy. That's what they want him for or something like that.
Once again, so do you think they wouldn't have wanted him if he wasn't a thug?
No, they would not want him.
Okay, that's where we disagree at, because
they would not want him if he was not a thug. Give the guy in prison with a record. The way how I saw the comments, that picture came out. I remember that picture. That picture came out.
Let's do it like this then. Let's do it like this. Do women want physically attractive guys that aren't thugs?
I'll say yes to that one. So, to a certain extent. To a certain extent, though. To a certain extent.
That's what I'm getting. So he would be that.
To a certain extent, the guys that they want, that aren't thugs, those guys do not want them because they come because those type of guys that they have access to Pookie, they come with problems, dude. They come with fucking problems and shit.
No, I get it. He's a low hanging fruit to them. I get it. A pretty low hanging fruit. We all want that. We all want the chick that just so happens to be a 9, but she's on Section 8 or something, and you're not really competing with the entire world for this chick. We all want that, but it's very difficult to come across. They seen that as an opportunity, but trust me, like if there was a bunch of Chloe Baileys, no matter what her persona, no matter what her status is, the same thing would occur. Like, Chloe Bailey is who I'm attracted to, but whoever you like, so yeah, like the same thing would occur. Her background just pales over her looks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think the guys will have more of a standard. Like, hell no, but I was saying, like, yeah, you was. I mean, you're right about that. I mean, he had both traits of a thug and a pretty boy, but most women that I grew up with, they was like, oh, he pretty, but he ain't hood enough. He ain't hood enough type of guy. He ain't the guy that's like when shit goes down, I tell him he ain't gonna like jump the gun, or he's not gonna like throw himself out like that. Whatever, because he ain't not about that life. That's why I said I kind of get what you're saying, but I a little disagree. But to a certain extent, though, that's what I'm saying. To a certain extent, when they use that, when they see that person is not as a protector, not a protector. What's the word I'm looking for? They can use.
Okay, so right now I was asking the woman on this panel, and she kind of said what she was looking for. I get what you're saying on one hand, but I don't think that thinking is as prevalent as brothers are trying to say that it exists. Maybe directly in the hood, if you grew up there, that would be the case. Um, but I don't really see that in real life. And it would be
I,
nice. It would be nice for them if that's how it was, but I don't. You know.
I did. I'm in Chicago, man. So a lot of shit in Chicago, man. I did.
I think
Yeah.
what he's pointing at. What's going on? Game changer and hello, the fellow panel member. I think what he's
This call me Jay. This call me Jay.
Jay.
Yeah, this call me Jay.
What's going on? So I think what you're alluding to, maybe I make a parallel. We know of GC might not agree with me, but we know of hot women that are they're beautiful women, but they have bad personalities, or for example, the whole archetype of a good-looking woman, but she sounds like Jadakiss, or she sounds like she smoked a lot of blunts.
Oh yeah,
And then it's like you have the combination of yeah, it's funny. You have the combination of a woman that might look like the plain Jane. She might look homely, but she has a great, I hate to say, I don't want to say personality, but she might be the most best cook, or she might be the most feminine in nature. So I think you're basically saying there's two archetypes or two standards of attraction or ways of attracting women through a man's physical aesthetics compared to his masculinity, right? So for example, you might, on a scale of 1 to 10, you might be a 6, but you might be ultra masculine. That might draw a woman more so, but then the other guy might just have I don't want to say jawline dude, but he might have a more chiseled features, so to speak. That might attract women. So it's basically it's saying it's like there's more than one way to skin a cat. With Jeremy Meeks, you pointed out an interesting dynamic, because it can be either or, to be honest with you. But I think more so it had to do with his facial features, especially with that lighting that he had. Because
the lighting, what if he didn't have the lighting? Then he wouldn't have been light skinned. He wouldn't have been blue eyed. He wouldn't
Let me
have looked.
elaborate. Let me elaborate. Because of the lighting, it highlighted his pronounced jaw, right?
Yeah.
So the evolution,
Among other things.
I mean, of course, hey man, we live in I don't want to be not being pro-black or anything. We live in a Eurocentric society. Whatever, the more racially ambiguous a person is, that's what's considered the most ideal. That's the zenith of attraction. That's the zenith of beauty, is a person that looks the most ambiguous, where you can't tell where they're from. Or
So
more
do you think chiseled features, for example, would those be more
But I mean,
Eurocentric, or is that more of a universal thing?
that's the chiseled features. Well, you're talking about pigmentation. With pigmentation, that's more
No,
correlated to. That's more. Let me just say
I'm
this. That's
talking
more
about
correlated.
chiseled
Hold on,
features.
JT. Let Azrael.
Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, but Azrael, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
The person's pigmentation, that's more correlated. I don't want to, because then that gives leeway for the whole colorism argument. But
Yeah,
that's
and
more
I'm
or
not
less.
trying to do that. That's why
No, of course.
I'm
I know
trying to
I know what you're
stick to-
pointing at. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying
I'm
is
trying
the
to stick to the
combination.
chiseled features aspect
There's
of
a
it, right?
there's a
Keep it more
there's a video.
universal.
JT, let him finish.
There's a video out. I wish I had it. It showed the whole concept of why Michael B. Jordan is considered attractive, and then they pointed out that he doesn't have the most conventionally attractive chin, right? But they said his pronounced jawbone is different. But it's here or there. But what I'm basically pointing out too is that he hit all what Edward Anderson calls the genetic markers. So he had the blue eyes. That's something that's not considered. The irony is that that's considered not the most genetically appealing in terms of biology, but for societal wise, that's considered the most ideal aesthetic, having blue eyes, being light skinned. But the jawline is more so pronounced. For example, people like Tyson Beckford. There's a couple of other dudes that are in the modeling industry.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this, because we're spending a lot of time. We're focused on why he's attractive. Let's just accept that he is, and this is from the reaction from women.
Good call.
And
Good call.
And you were relating that to what J-Lock was saying about. So I think the question that J-Lock is posing is, was it his looks or his social status as a prisoner that made him that? And I think that that's what you were responding to. Am I right, Azriel?
Yeah, I want to say this. It's his looks, but I would guess, to Jack's point, I'd say maybe being in jail or being a bad boy was the icing on the cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then here's food for thought right here. Quick insert. What if basic social skills improved upon through knowledge and experience over years' time added to that social status, hence social status?
Well, see, this is the thing. I'm not sure where I just came on because I saw GC was on and I thought it was going to be an interesting conversation. I mean, like I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't know what Jay was talking about before I came on, but I mean, for example, there you can always we always encompass the Black society because we're more hyper vigilant on a person's visual features than more so their productivity, their personality, charm, charisma, so on and so forth.
That's
Like I said, as a
derivative. That's like a slavery derivative.
Yeah,
right?
but like I said, as a man,
physical.
you have more than one way to skin a cat. Like I think we sometimes go to the extreme. We always assume, oh, if you're not, like, if the person is having trouble with a particular group of women, oh, they must look like Quasimodo. It's like, not necessarily. Maybe it's just their personality is not it's not compatible with that particular group of women.
Right. Before I finish the video, I do want to touch on what JT was saying about derivative slavery. Yeah, I do think that there is a there as far as that, because slavery is a situation that more or less money and status are pretty much static across the board as far as for women to choose a mate. Like, you're not gonna say, oh, he's the number one cotton picker in the field, like, and there is no money in slavery. So, therefore you pretty much are, that's what's left. I mean, of course there are certain bro. There are certain status markers but it's very limited. If you're skilled, you're a blacksmith or something like that, of course that helps, but generally speaking, you're all very low status and very, very, very low money. So yeah, looks is what's left after that. Touch on that, and I'll finish off this video.
Yeah, like if you got like strong hands, for example, right? Or if you could like lay the pipe, which is like the traditional term as it be for like, the Generation X and beyond, or if you got like fat butt cheeks or like, biceps the size of your head, you know what I mean? But then I think what most women they really want, and they can't even really sum it up themselves, and that's the trick, brothers. Like, for them, as much as they talk about it, they're talking about it in terms where they're still trying to figure it out for themselves. Because when it comes to Black women, right? Like, every other race has their standards, which varies geographically, nationality, based on men, right? Like, you could be the same race and have two different cultures, like, all those things incorporated, right? I mean, as far as America is concerned, you can be Black and be pretty much two different goddamn races, excuse my language. But at the end of the day, we need to come back to something that is called universal masculinity. And that is no more defined by physicality than it is by intellect, than it is by potential, than it is by drive, and that it is by the innate need to accomplish what's best for oneself above and beyond all circumstances, right? And if Black men could just tap into that spirit, because that is what has kept us alive for the last 400 years, and we take it to the next level, which I think the manosphere is this is that time. It's that time right now, and we treat it gently, man, and we fly right. We can make it happen. I think this is it right here. This is where, the Gen X connect with the millennials, connect with the Gen Zs, and we all get on board with something, and we do something screwed up like them Canadian truckers.
I don't get the reference, but
I agree. Oh, wait, so basically, I know what you're talking about. The Canadian truckers,
Nah, I just mean like yo, we bum rush. I just mean we bum rush the exits. We bum rush the gates. We bum rush the club, and we basically like impose like our ideology of manhood is, because that's what men do. That's what conquerors do. That's what warriors do, as has been done since time immemorial.
All right, let me play the rest of this because there's one other thing that she says that I want to touch on before I do final thoughts. So
versus a tall, handsome, above average, let's say 65K earning man. The man who's tall, handsome, and makes $175,000 a year. Yes, women do see him as higher up than handsome. I'm assuming she's the average height handsome man that makes about 65K. So
Yeah.
women do see a difference in that. So we don't need that.
So I want to make that.
Hold on, wait, Pablo. Hold on, you got bad background.
Yeah. So real quick. So I want to say this. You, myself, GameChanger, City, we're within shooting distance of each other. Yeah. Somebody like Dennis Sperling is not in our shooting distance.
True.
So, a blue collar guy, there's nothing wrong with that. He could be a blue collar guy and be a plumber, right? Or my dad owned a landscaping company. So, those guys are still in our shooting distance, even though they have different, credentials.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't want women to just like downplay that. That's all I'm saying. Like, there are high earning blue collar dudes with, they're firefighters, they're police officers, they get hazard pay.
I get exactly where you're going. I think she could have better worded it and say, I found someone more suitable for me. That's really how she should have worded it. And that happens all the time on Kevin Samuels' show, where if you look at the chick and her stat sheet and how she line up and how she measure up, what she thinks she's settling for, she actually should be very happy to have, because that's right at where she's at, maybe slightly above. but in their mind, they think they're settling for what's suitable for them, given where they're at, because they have a false sense of where they're at. So all I'm saying is
yeah, I'm not saying I'm settling.
Where's that false sense? Where's that false sense of their self-aware of their self-assessment of their mate value coming from?
You said, where does it come from?
Yeah, where does the false sense of so many black women's self-assessment of their mate value coming
from? It's a number of places. One place we kind of already touched on, because they can get sexual access to guys that they have no chance of getting in a relationship with, so they can be a little deluded in thinking that, hey, these are the guys that are, on par with me, or they're foolish enough to think that their value on the market is determined based off their income and based off their money, or based off their success, based off their education, their degree in basket weaving. Shout out to GameChanger, I think that's his quote. So yeah, they may think that they have some status because of that. They could think they have a higher status because of a lot of things, and that's the reason Kevin Samuels dresses them down with the scale from 1 to 10 with your face, height and weight, and all of that. And do you got any kids? Were they out of wedlock? Were they this? Were they that? And you come up with an actual picture that a blue collar construction worker is about your speed.
So here we have a situation that's very interesting, because a lot of black women, from what you're saying, it seems that a lot of black women have, for whatever reason, have trouble distinguishing between short and long-term mating.
That's one way to look at it. That's a related, but kind of a different route, but still kind of related. The people in the back, I apologize. I'm left some of y'all back there forever. I typically don't go. I didn't want to overbook the panel, but so I'm probably not. It's late in the show. I ain't bringing nobody else up. So I do apologize, everybody who was waiting in the back for a long time. But I ain't bringing nobody else up. But hold on, real quick before you go down that route of City. Al Boogie in the building says, I don't appreciate you helping her explain the highway traffic to her box, Bernard. I don't think her man appreciates that either. She on the road to perdition. Shout out to Al Boogie. the light bearer council in the building. He says he nodded in agreement and muzzled himself. It seemed she spoke in I don't know what that is. Patois.
Patois.
Patois. What is that?
Patois is a kind
speaking,
of dialect.
Speaking indirectly towards him.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, speaking indirectly towards him, I do it all the time to insult indirectly, and yeah, people.
But why do you need to do that though?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're not trying to go back there. I don't think she's just this subliminal sneak, this indirect magician, but but I do think that we I do think it is a simple case that she came ready. I do think she came ready to say. I mean, Angry Man said this. I'm paraphrasing him, but she came ready to say all that to him, but he didn't go. He didn't take the bait, so she just emptied that clip on somebody else. That's a fair assessment of what happened, I think.
I have a theory as to why that is, but I'm not going to go into it here. I'll do it on my show.
Okay,
I have a theory why so many brothers are seeing all of these sneak diss, indirect slights on Kevin, and by extension, black men writ large. I have a theory as to why that is, but I'll go into it over on my show.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair enough. Listen, I don't think she came in. I don't think she sneak dissed him. Like I said, I just think she found somebody guilty who she thought was guilty to throw that on, and she said, random dudes on TikTok. I don't know. But anyway, all right. What the hell?
Let me say this. While you doing that, let me say this.
I'm just somebody time Sister George out. She got my chat room smelling like corn chips and white diamond perfume. Get her out of here.
So to the point that GameChanger is making about hierarchies, let me say this for the record. Everybody knows my background, but just really quickly. I'm a 22-year union man, skilled blue collar tradesman right out of high school. Basically like a month out of high school for 22 years. After my career ended, I started what will become, I helped to found or hope to create what we today know as the Black Manosphere. So I'm a business.
All right, so this is Obsidian, once again, going for the status thing.
Is that your side or our side, GameChanger?
Yeah, that's my side where it's buffering like that. There's something that she said I want to get to, but it's not that important. Basically, she was just saying that she was going for the status in college. She went for a guy's status within the college setting. That was the last thing I wanted to touch on what she says, but I'll just let it alone because it's this stream is running long. So your final thoughts, J-Lot?
Well, I really don't have anything to say. Surprisingly, I don't have anything to say.
Saying something positive, and thank GameChanger for having you on the panel.
It's fine. I always have a closing thoughts. What about you, Azrael?
Well, one of my, of course, I always appreciate you having this outlet for us to get stuff off our mind, and wax poetically sometimes. I wanted to say this. I hope we'll eventually get into the talking point of how there's a lack of a threshold for Black men as to what is deemed attractive and unattractive. The whole Pookie and educated lame thing is like we kind of put ourselves in a box, and there's range. We have, for example, there's like 3 white actors: Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, and like Robert Downey Jr. They're all different types, but they're still able to be their own definition of what's considered attractive. So overall, I believe that as Black men, we just have to take back the narrative of what is considered masculine or what's considered attractive. That's the main point. If you want to see any change, instead of people putting in a black or white thing of you either being a nerd or a thug, that's what your goal is gonna have to be. But thank you for having me on again, GameChanger. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, I wanted to say, men should not be back burners of women that are not attracted to them. Come back months later, or have to sell it on with them and don't like, you know, cooperate and stuff like that. So that's all I had to say.
All right. Okay. Well, with that, I want to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats, managers and moderators, those who are listening silently, and those who participate in the chat. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Feel free to leave a message in the comment section. And yeah, this is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.